Hey everybody, Who's Your Jedi here with another review for you. This time I'm talking episode 5 of season 6 of Arrow, Deathstroke Returns. Sorry about that. I'm sitting next to an open window and I figured maybe I should close it after all. Anyway, this is a pretty solid episode and it gives us some nice insight into what's going on with Slade. Particularly, we get to really kind of focus in on his past and kind of get to know his son, Joe. Now, Joe in the comics is quite different. Here, he seems to be a little bit of a mix between the character of Joseph and his older brother in the comics, Grant, who we saw on Legends of Tomorrow. But again, that's a weird possible alternate future where it just doesn't really make sense for Grant to be the older brother in that situation. I think we're just going to have to kind of let that particular one go for the moment. Anyway, getting back to it, I really do like that this really is a nice job of laying out where Slade is a character. It's consistent with his past, and it leaves a lot of interesting things going on with him in the future. Felicity and John are not completely over all the things that Slade did to them in the past, and yet it's Oliver who's the most accepting of Slade, oddly enough, which makes sense given that he's the one that knows Slade best, and he knows what it's like to sort of be this dark person and to fight your way back. And let's not forget, Heptapa Mirakuru or not, Slade killed Oliver's mother right in front of him and Thea. And yet Oliver is willing to step up here and go to bat for Slade when Slade asks him for help, which again speaks very well of Oliver's character. He has forgiven Slade, and the capacity to forgive those who have wronged you is, an extraordinarily desirable trait in a hero, and a desirable trait for anyone. I mean, any religion, any philosophy in the world that you want to name pretty much will say that if you can forgive people who have done you wrong, you are doing a very spiritually right thing, something that for you is just as beneficial. In fact, it's even been said by some people that forgiving is really more a benefit to the person who gives forgiveness than the person who receives it. Because people who are given forgiveness for things they have done may not always appreciate it. They might not even care that someone has forgiven them. But the act of forgiving another is considered quite healthy for one's spirituality. Now, whatever you make of that, well, that's your business, but I think it's worth mentioning. Now, the whole thing with ultimately at the end that Joe turns out to be the leader of the Jackals and all of this, well, this makes perfect sense. And while I did enjoy the flashbacks, it just sort of feels like I hope there's more to Joe became this person because his dad didn't spend enough time with him as a kid. I really hope there's something deeper than that to it. Otherwise, it's going to be pretty disappointing. But we'll have to see. I really did like some of the nods here to the comics. Of course, referring to having Deathstroke's nickname be the Terminator. That's beautiful. I mean, he was for the longest time called Deathstroke the Terminator. Quite the nod to the time in the 1980s when the character was created. But okay, let's roll with that. I mean, come on, original Terminator is to this day a fantastic movie. Having Kane Wolfman be the alias that Joe uses, I mean, of course, Marv Wolfman is the writer who helped create Vigilante and Deathstroke, so very cool there. And generally, Marv Wolfman is one of those guys that I consider, like, it's hard to go wrong with something he's written. He's a very, very dependable writer in terms of, being able to enjoy his work. And the stuff he did on New Teen Titans, yeah, there are parts of it that show their age if you go back and read those stories, but after 30 years, well, of course they are going to show their age, but they're still really good stories. Like if you go and read the most famous Teen Titans storyline of all, Judas Contract. I mean, after all these years, it's still really, really good. Oh, and if you really want to read something great, go and read the X-Men New Teen Titans crossover. Oh my God, that is just like an absolute comic book joygasm. I mean, it is so good. I can't spoil it, but you basically what happens. I mean, okay, I'll tell it to you because it's right on the cover. You get to see Darkseid meet Dark Phoenix. I mean, it's glorious. There's this full page with Dark Phoenix going, "Who summons Dark Phoenix?" And it's just I, Darkseid. I even actually got to talk to Jeff Johns about that panel, that book one time at Comic Con in San Diego. It's just like, oof, great stuff. Anyway, our drink tonight, by the way, is apple and fruit tea. It's pretty good, but I was hoping the apple flavor would be a little stronger. It's a bit understated. Nice aroma though. Okay, so getting off topic. Watching Slade just absolutely go in there and just mow through that small army of mercenaries, that was great. That really did serve to remind us of just how incredibly dangerous Slade is. I mean, he did a good job in the flashback there, and I like the nod to Yao Fei. That was nicely done. But yeah, it just really reminded me of like what a genuinely scary son of a bitch Slade was in season 2, and not having Mirakuru working for him now has not slowed him down a great deal. And I also really loved how he drugs Oliver to sort of help force Oliver to continue to keep his promise to William. And of course, that really leads into that really nice scene with William, calling Oliver, and Oliver having to admit, like, no, I wasn't able to help my friend. Again, nicely done. The stuff back in Star City. Still not totally sure what the FBI agent is really supposed to be investigating. I mean, you have to be investigating some sort of a crime. What are you trying to do here? And she's obviously seeing through all the BS that Team Arrow is throwing at her. But again, you're gonna need to actually have some proof, not to mention an actual crime to investigate. But probably just nitpicking a little too much. Let's see what else. Oh yeah, we finally do have Vigilante unmasked. Having it be Vincent is a nice touch. Although he like him as a character, like who he is, it's pretty easy to kind of forget about him, since he was just played by some random actor. In the one episode we saw him before, the character has been recast now that he's a featured person. And the idea of Vigilante having these healing powers, well, okay, that explains quite a bit of some of the things that we saw last time around. And I definitely like that it gives Dinah something very personal to deal with. Renee's got his daughter. Diggle, of course, has a family. Curtis has had a husband. Now he's got this business thing going on with Felicity. But Diana's really been lacking some sort of personal, emotional hook for us to really kind of dig into her as a character deeply. And now with this, we have that hook, and I think it really, really works. Having something personal for her, something with like real emotional stakes for her, has really, really done a lot for her character, in my opinion, in just this single episode. Although I kind of wish we would get a little bit more details on exactly like Vigilante's motivations. I think he needs to be fleshed out more, but I'm sure we still have plenty of time. Pollard and the whole anti-vigilante task initiative, I mean, that's all well and good. Although, again, as people have pointed out, vigilantes have saved her life, but she's still willing to roll ahead with this. On the other hand, a vigilante was trying to take her life. So, in all fairness to Pollard, this at most kind of cancels it out. And, never mind the fact that there are people running around, you know, being vigilantes, which is illegal. Let's see, what else? What else? Oh yeah, I also liked how Dinah ultimately let Vigilante go. This, of course, would have been a little things would have been wrapped up a little too nice and neat if they'd caught him then. But it also means that if he hurts and kills people in the future, which he almost certainly will, she's going to feel the guilt of that. It also gives her a secret, something that she's keeping from the team, that she let him go. She lied about him having got away. That was her personal choice. And we know that when people keep secrets on Team Arrow, it always ends badly. So I think we've got a lesson that Oliver is going to be imparting to her at some point down the line. So, all in all, guys, this is a really good episode. It does a lot for Slade, it does a lot for Diana, and it kind of gives, now that we know who Vigilante is, we can start to learn about him and hopefully come to care about him as a character as well, or at least be interested in him as a character. So I'm going to call it here, guys. As always, please comment, rate, subscribe, and of course you can follow me on Twitter at Hoosier Jedi, and please also join me on Tumblr at Jedi Reviewer. Till next time, take care and have a good one.